straighten it. It's like...
Well, you worked all week and you're ready to let go. Let me tell you, friend, believe me when I say I know. It always feels like we're punching in. Well, I'm glad you stopped by. The fun is about to begin. You paid good money at the door. Get ready for a real good show. If you want to have a real good time with me tonight, you gotta move like crazy, dancing in the pale moonlight. We can all get down, spin inside out. I'm telling you, if you really want to groove, you gotta make a move.
Well, we're officially in 2022.
We are.
And rocking and rolling we go into the new year. Did you keep up with your resolutions so far?
Well, it's only a couple of days in, so I think I'm doing pretty okay. But it has been another month or two. I mean, I think we did put a lot of thought into it,
right.
And we gave a lot of advice to people about how to effectively set your resolution. So hopefully that's helped some folks out there. And if you can always go back to that episode and listen.
Right. I had McDonald's the other night.
Have you already blown yours out?
No,
We're on January 4th? And
no.
Riley's already...
I forget what I said to you. We were talking the other day, and I said something, and it was like, yeah, I already ruined it. But no, I was kidding. Kirk, who do we have with us today?
We have Lisa Tschauner, who's somebody who's been making a move here in central Nebraska. Woo. In the truest definition of our podcast. She's involved in a lot of different stuff. She works at UNK, running everything entrepreneurship related there. For those of you who aren't in Nebraska, that's the University of Nebraska-Kearney. She's got her own business, and one of the interesting things we're going to be talking about today is somehow in the midst of all of that, she's made a move and found time to write a novel. And we'll be talking about that novel today. So she's definitely somebody who exemplifies the principles of making a move and living lots of different lives in parallel. And so it's exciting. So I've had the opportunity to meet with Lisa. I guess it's probably been maybe close to 3 years ago, the first time you came out to the Silicon Prairie Center to meet, to talk about entrepreneurship and how we might collaborate to inspire students at the University of Nebraska-Kearney. And we've, I guess, engaged through a number of different activities and events over the last few years, including the Entrepreneurship Best Practices Summit, which you see over there, which I spoke at a few months ago, and something that Lisa organizes as an important event for entrepreneurs here in Nebraska.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. So, yeah, it's been great. We have been able to collaborate on several things, and it's been fun.
Oh, and I forgot about this one. So here's another important one.
Big idea.
Yeah, there we go. Hopefully you can see that on the camera out there. I'm not really sure.
I like the top part of that. It says make it happen.
I know. Make a move, make it happen. Yeah, it kind of fits our theme pretty well. Exactly. So that's what...
Make it happen is my mantra. It's above my desk at work.
Is it really?
It's all over.
Nice.
So.
Well, you really fit this podcast.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. It feels like destiny, the fact that we met and had the opportunity to collaborate.
Well, you made me sound really legit, so I'll come here any day.
You are very legit. Yeah. So I think there's a few like-minded folks that live in here in central Nebraska, and you're certainly one of them. We're all kind of, I think, driving towards a kind of a common goal. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I wanted to have you kind of maybe explain to us a little bit about how you've managed to make a move and all the different things you've done, and how you've managed in the midst of working at the University of Nebraska-Kearney and running a business, find time to write a novel, and what the inspiration was for that. Just kind of, if you can tell a little bit about your background and kind of how you got to doing the things you're doing, that would be great.
Yeah, right on. So it goes way back to the Oregon Trail. So I began my career in the 90s. I actually was a student. I did my first 2 years at the University of Nebraska-Kearney.
Okay.
During the transition from Kearney State to there.
Oh, okay.
And then after those 2 years, I started my career and worked for an energy company here in the Midwest. And that's where I really kind of cut my teeth in the professional world. Mm-hmm. And I just had this amazing privilege to be able to work under some really great leaders. And Murray Brown was my first official boss, and Kip Greenstreet, these two great guys that I was in the telecommunications department for this Midwest utility company, and they handed me a ton of responsibility as this young 20-something that was climbing the corporate ladder, right? And gave me a lot of responsibility and just trusted me. And made it okay for me to make mistakes and learn from them. And they were just such great examples of leaders, and not just leaders, but innovators. Even though we all worked kind of inside of a corporation, we were allowed to be creative and innovate and problem solve. And so they really gave me this pass, right, to do that and to learn how to do that and to do it in an effective way.
Well, and those are great tools for entrepreneurs. I mean, to have the opportunity to fail. And
yeah. And I also grew up in Nebraska. I grew up in Hebron. Shout out to Hebron.
Hey.
Small town. I refer to it as Pleasantville. But growing up there, it was such a sheltered place that it was okay to make mistakes there too, right? And so I can go way back and talk about how I was a kid and I created my own strawberry shortcake doll, sent it into the Mattel company, and they sent me a thing back telling me I had to go get a patent, and I took it to my parents. I was like, Mom, Dad, I have to get a patent. I actually researched it at my little city library, and I said, I need an attorney, I need a patent, and they're like,
What?
and of course this is in the early 70s, 80s, right?
Yeah.
And my parents are like, oh, that's cute, Lisa. No. But now I think to all the resources that we have now, right?
Yeah.
We would never tell a kid that now because we have all these really great resources
Because they would
to
know
help
better.
them.
Yeah, they would know better too. You tell them one
Right.
thing, they'd be like, I just researched it, Mom. That's not the way it is.
Exactly. So anyway, grew up in Hebron. I had a really great first exposure to the professional world, and throughout that finished my bachelor's degree, lived in Denver for a couple of years, worked for WorldCom, worked for several small businesses, mid-sized businesses, had several businesses of my own. I had a gourmet cheesecake company in the late 90s. I had my own interior design company. I've worked in construction, in marketing, in real estate, had my own real estate company, and then kind of accidentally fell into entrepreneurship education kind of in the mid-aughts and ran into an old friend of mine who also worked at the energy company at Central Community College. She was an associate dean there and said, hey, would you like to come teach some business classes just as an adjunct professor? And I was like, never thought of that before. And so I kind of jumped into it, and they were in the need for an entrepreneurship coordinator, and this was at Central Community College in Hastings, and that's kind of how I fell into it. And I've always coined myself or talked about myself in terms of having career ADD. I kind of 3 to 5 years, check, I'm done with that. Now I'm on to something else that's exciting and new. But the really cool thing about being an entrepreneurship educator and consultant and working with people is that no day is the same. So every day is different, and you get to be very involved in the development of a lot of different things. And so that's kept me going since 2008 or 9, and have just gotten to be part of this entrepreneurial ecosystem in Nebraska. And it's all these people that and you see each other at these events, and it's not just us. Usually there's 2 or 3 new people that we bring along, and so we're just kind of growing this whole community of like-minded, but yet different-minded, right? People who all want to see small business and see economic development in the state of Nebraska, and so it's just been a real honor to be a part of that, and I've learned so much.
It's awesome. The things that I hone in on that perks my ears is when you say that those 2 guys allowed you to make mistakes. Probably because they knew the value in making those mistakes and
learning from them.
Oh, yeah. And I used to think that growing up in high school,
High school's not a place, you know that.
When I was growing up and in school, I feel like, at least where I went, it was always don't you dare fail, and you got to get straight A's all the time and all that, and it puts this pressure on you. And like, I think failure needs to be encouraged a little bit more.
Yeah.
But something that I thought about, and I was talking with a friend the other day, is like, I think too, another thing that's going on with like a younger generation is now that we have so many options, is it maybe like not scared to fail, but like, I don't know what to do, you know? And so that's another thing I've been thinking about is, you know, like maybe it's not always afraid to fail. Maybe it's, we are just barraged with so many options and like, you can't make a decision. Like,
Well, yeah, it's the whole decision fatigue thing, you
Right.
know, or like you're just so overwhelmed with options, you don't even know what to choose. And then subsequently, a lot of people end up choosing nothing.
right.
Yeah. Well, and I look at it though, kind of on the other side of it is, I see freshmen, these freshmen in college, you know, coming out of high school, especially over the last couple of years, because it's been so strange, right? And they feel like they should know what they do, and they feel like if they don't know what they are supposed to do the minute school starts, college starts, that they've automatically failed. They're like,
Right.
oh, I'm not sure. And I have the complete opposite. I'm like, you should not come to college knowing what you want to do. You should not. You should explore. That's what college is for, is to learn about all these different things that are out there and be exposed to all sorts of different business models and different disciplines and different people and experts and subject matter. And so I think it's exciting when students don't know and they're willing to kind of tap into that curiosity and learn new things.
Hey, Riley here. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Make a Move podcast. For more content, check us out on all major social media platforms and makeamovepodcast.com. Until next time, get off your butt